Alright, hats off, chewing gum has been, phones away, let's do this. 60 minutes in 1 hour. I know that this is a fact that you all know. I mean, I remember back when I had year 2, I would constantly be getting them to say 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in an hour, 24 hours in a day. And I'd get them to memorize their times, like different time lengths that way. The reason that's important is because time is weird. It's not like things like lengths or whatever, where it's a nice, like tens, hundreds, thousands. Those are easy numbers to work with. But time is based on 60s, and there's 12 numbers on the clock, and there's all sorts of weird things that happen with time for reasons I won't get into in this video. But if you remember your basic fact of an hour is 60 minutes, then you know, logically, that half an hour is 30 minutes. Which means that 0.5 hours is the same as saying half an hour, and that's 30 minutes. We know that, but then people start to lose it when they get to something like 0.1 hours. They think, oh, 0.1, that's just like, if I put a 0 on the end, that's now 10 minutes. But 0.1 of an hour is 0.1 of 60 minutes. So 0.1 of an hour is actually 6 minutes. And that's a bit different from 10 minutes. And I think sometimes we remember 0.25 because that's a common decimal, but that's a quarter, and 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour, not 25 minutes. These are mistakes that I'm seeing in students' work, even though I know they know this stuff, but sometimes it just flies out of your brain when you're trying to do some set work and you forget things. So here is the big mistake in action. This question is about, yes, someone earns $415.63 from their job in a week and they're earning $18.68 per hour. So someone does the division, they get on their calculator 22.25. And that's what their calculator says, but they forget that the 0.25 means a quarter, and they end up saying, yeah, it's 22 hours and 25 minutes. Which is not, it's only 15 minutes. Another example here, a tap leaking at 25 litres per hour, and it's leaking for 45 minutes. People who multiply it by 45, or they say it's 0.45, and then, yep, that's their answer. But they forget that 45 minutes is actually 3/4 of an hour. So their answer should be 18.75. Suddenly their answer's off by quite a lot. It's not like they were, oh, that's only 10 minutes difference. The end answer ended up being quite a bit different because you used the wrong timing there. So, how can we avoid these issues? There are two main ways that I'd suggest. First of all, we need to know how we can get our calculator to give us a nice tidy thing if we've got a part of our answer. So let's say it was 4.8 hours and that was my answer. Oh, okay, let's do something 0.6 times 8. Let's say that was the question. So 0.6 times 8 gives me 4.8 as my answer. And you're thinking, okay, so that's 4 hours and something minutes. It's not going to be 8 minutes. It can't be 80 minutes because there aren't that many minutes in an hour. So I'm going to take that 4 off, and that gives me the 0.8, the decimal part. And if I multiply that by 60, that gave me 48. So I've got 4 hours and 48 minutes as being my final answer. Because the 4 hours, that won't change. That'll still be the same. Get rid of that, just deal with the minutes part, and we can break it down that way. But you know what's even better? Especially if you're using a real calculator and not a phone, is you've got a button that'll do it for you. My Year 9 class currently call it the bubble button because it looks like a bubble and it makes little bubble symbols. So if we've got degrees, minutes, and seconds when we're dealing with angles, because it's only time and angles that do this weird 60 thing. But anyway, degrees, we can kind of treat that like hours. So let's do that quick calculation again of 0.6 times 8. Cool. 4.8 was our answer from our question. I can now press that button. And it puts it as 4 degrees, 48 minutes, 0 seconds. Now, that gave us the same answer here. If we just treat the degrees as if they're hours, we've got 4 degrees or hours, 48 minutes. So that matches really nicely. And that can help us out if we've got something that's a little less nice to look at. Or actually, more to the point, I can now type in my times. If I needed 4 hours, 48 minutes, I can type it in as a degrees and minutes into my calculator. Cool, that gives me that. I'll push the bubble button again, and it gives me 4.8. I can now use that 4.8 in my calculations. So, or more to the point, if I've got 4 hours and 48 minutes as a work shift, and I'm earning, what was that number from earlier? $18.68 per hour. Okay, I have to push the bubble button because I don't want a time for my answer. I want dollars for my answer here. Yeah, cool. I'm getting $89.66. So I can use the minutes in my calculation now. How much do I earn per minute if I'm on that wage? 0 degrees, 1 minute times $18.68. Every minute of work in that job, I'm earning 31 cents. I can do all sorts of calculations now because that bubble button, that degrees, minutes, seconds button, will let me transfer between a decimal and degrees and minutes, or it'll let me type degrees and minutes into my question. So, good ways to get you out of trouble for one of the weirdest conversions that you'll ever come across in most of your maths work, but easy enough to deal with once you're used to it. So yeah, enjoy.